Part 4. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 31. The immortal king is coming to Jushin. The sun sets over the long river. At this moment, outside the holy land of eternal life, there were also shocked voices shouting from the mouths of the old beings. Their strength is so powerful that even if they are thousands of miles away, they can still sense the vision appearing in the holy land of eternal life at this moment. Compared with the last time when a vision of heaven and earth appeared in the holy land of eternal life, more powerful beings were alarmed this time. Because, the vision of heaven and earth blessed, but most sages have had such experiences. But the legendary strangeness caused by the casting of the divine body elephant, that's too rare. The Zai star has only appeared once in 1,000 years. After all, legendary phenomena can only appear when the true body realm is broken through and the divine body is condensed. Visions of heaven and earth, it is possible to touch any realm. Therefore, the vision of the divine body is even more rare, and it is even more shocking. Not to mention, the appearance of the legendary vision this time is unusual. The immortal King Jushin has not yet ended, and another legendary vision appears again. But anyone with vision knows what this means. Legendary visions are definitely not that simple. If you want to have two legendary visions appear in succession in one day, it can only mean these two legendary visions were triggered by one person at the same time. A dragon appears in the holy land of eternal life. Check quickly, who is it? Almost all the monsters of this generation in the holy land of eternal life have broken through to the true body realm. Who on earth condensed the divine body and caused two legendary visions? Voices came out from the mouths of top experts from various major forces. At this moment, the eternal holy land has been completely obscured by the powerful people of the eternal holy land. Even they cannot detect who condensed the divine body and triggered the two legendary visions. But these people all know that a monster that can trigger two legendary visions at the same time will definitely have the potential to become an emperor. What's more, with the birth of such a top power in the holy land of eternal life, the holy land of eternal life has devoted all its resources, and the hope of becoming emperor has become several times greater. You need to know that among the top powers, there seems to be no conflict between wells and rivers. In the final analysis, it is because the strength of the various forces has not truly distanced themselves. If the eternal holy land is allowed to cultivate a great emperor, these forces will naturally be unwilling to do so. The outside world was shaken by the legendary vision. At this moment, in the holy land of eternal life, countless powerful people in the holy land were also completely confused. Just then the figure of the immortal king disappeared, and a long river came from the horizon again, accompanied by a giant sun that shed the golden light of the setting sun, and also headed towards the Yeoguang immortal peak. Although this vision is not as majestic as the immortal King Lin Jushin, it has endless charm that makes people unable to help but fall into it and cannot extricate themselves. Legendary visions such as the sun setting over the long river were revealed by Emperor Kongwen in the past. I never thought that it would appear again today. Who would have thought that the most evil holy son of this generation is not Tianchu or Tianquan, but Yeoguang? The powerful man from the holy land of eternal life subconsciously spoke in admiration, but his eyes were still filled with shock and confusion. Even for these well-informed powerful men, they have never seen two legends in their lives. The scene where the vision appeared on the same day. The fluctuating light has the appearance of an emperor. An old voice swept through the holy land of eternal life at this moment, praising Yang Hao for having the appearance of a great emperor. For a moment, all the powerful men of the holy land of eternal life nodded subconsciously. Throughout the ages, most great emperors have possessed special divine bodies. Sheikh Guang attracted two legendary visions today. Even though his special divine body has not been completely formed at this moment, no one knows what a special physique it is, but no one can refute the praise of this old voice. On the other hand, Yang Hao, who was absorbing the Changhe sunset Yuan into his body, suddenly heard the old voice sweeping through the Holy Land in the void. He couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. He was almost so shocked by this compliment that he forgot to absorb the vision. Do I look like an emperor? Although I know this person means to flatter me, this sentence is not a good thing. Yang Hao muttered in his heart, this sentence is too famous. He never thought that even when he broke through, someone would jump out and say such a sentence, which really left Yang Hao speechless. Even though he has killed a protagonist, he seems to be going further and further down the path of villain. Do not care. Divine body, completed. At this moment, Yang Hao felt that his state had completely reached its peak after absorbing the vision of the setting sun in the long river. Immediately, he no longer hesitated. Because the breakthrough that was interrupted appeared again with the second legendary vision, he finally returned. On the right track. The next moment, thousands of rays of light cover the holy land of eternal life. Everyone knows that a divine body will be born today. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 32. The canopy of light covers the sky for 9 days, and the shaking light immortal peak attracts worldwide attention. Time body. True immortal body. Dragon body. When everyone was looking forward to Yang Hao condensing that special divine body, Yang Hao was in a daze at the moment. After he reached the perfection of his energy and spirit, he merged the 2 legendary visions with the holy dragon scales in his body. When he truly entered the realm of supernatural power, he secretly had a connection with God. A peerless evildoer like Xiao Chong could not even imagine a divine body. But he was faced with a choice at this moment. 3 directions of divine bodies appeared in front of him. Under the induction of heaven and man, Yang Hao understood that he only needed to make a choice at this moment to complete his transformation and condense his special divine body. The divine body of time undergoes transformation due to the legendary vision of the long river and the setting sun and the time pattern in my body. Once transformed, my control over time will be greatly improved, and I will have endless mysterious means. The true immortal body is transformed due to the immortal King Lin Jushin and the supreme immortal bone in my body. Once transformed, my talent will be unparalleled in the world, and my understanding will be peerless. Even God-level techniques can be understood at a glance. The dragon god body is transformed due to the direction of the holy dragon scales and the body in my body. Once transformed, my body will be unparalleled in the world, comparable to the ancient holy dragon, and extremely powerful. The direction of each divine body was displayed in front of Yang Hao under the influence of heaven and man. He did not expect that others did not even have the opportunity to build a divine body, but he had 3 directions to choose from. If someone were to I'm afraid even the emperor will be jealous. They are all good, how to choose? Yang Hao is also in trouble at this moment. Each special divine body is extremely powerful. As an adult who has traveled through time, his first reaction is of course to want them all. However, there is no such option. Every divine body is so unparalleled that the emperor can only choose one. Naturally, it is impossible for Yang Hao to split into 3 and advance into 3 special divine bodies. Pity. Although the supreme talent of the true immortal divine body and the supreme physical body of the dragon divine body both make me envious, I have the system at hand. Relatively speaking, the time divine body best meets my needs among the 3. Yang Hao can only analyze rationally and start to make a choice. He has unlimited points. Whether it is a physical body or a talent, he can use the points to increase it, but it will take some time. Only the time divine body is mysterious, even the system cannot be seen. I need help in this regard. Just choose to transform into the divine body of time. Just when Yang Hao needed to make a choice, he suddenly. What's this? Just when he was thinking about the choice, the subconscious sensing system, his exclusive panel naturally appeared in front of his eyes. At this moment, his panel had some more content out of thin air. Yang Hao's realm, the first level of the supernatural realm. Talent. Supreme Immortal Bone. 3600/10 million plus. Time Deo Pattern 4200/10 million plus. Time Divine Body 0/100 million plus. True Immortal Divine Body 0/100 million plus. Dragon God Body 0/100 million plus. Master the Skill. Chaos Immortal Sutra, Immortal Level, 150/10 million plus. Supreme Killing Sword, Heaven Level, 9,000/100,000 plus. Juya Prison, Demigod, 1.25 million/100 million plus. Current points, 1.3 million. Points income record. On my panel, 3 divine bodies that have not yet been forged appeared. Can I add some more? Yang Hao's heart moved, and he added the points to the 3 divine bodies at the same time without hesitation. Suddenly, all the strong men who were looking at the Yaoguang Immortal Peak felt the divine light flowing. A huge immortal king, once again appeared in Yaoguang Immortal Peak. But at this moment, the shadow of the immortal king showing the face of Yang Hao is like a guardian angel, existing in Yaoguang Immortal Peak for a long time. Fluct Light's divine body was successfully condensed. The vision of the immortal king reappears. It should be condensed into a true immortal body like the eternal emperor. This is the physique with the strongest talent in history. The holy son of Yaoguang really has the appearance of an emperor. The voices of strong men came one after another. They all had a keen eye for pearls. Although they did not actually see Yang Hao appear, they still recognized that the body that Yang Hao had condensed was a true immortal body. At this moment, the holy land of eternal life was plunged into a carnival, cheering for the birth of a peerless monster. Real immortal body. After condensing the divine body, Yang Hao's perception was extremely sharp. He smiled mysteriously when he heard this. Everyone guessed wrong. When he was condensing the divine body, there were other visions born, but they were not as powerful as the figure of the immortal king. Everyone was so shocked that they ignored it. The system really surprised him. He originally thought he could only choose one of 3, but when he had a flash of inspiration and added points to the 3 divine bodies on the panel at the same time, a magical change occurred. The 3 divine bodies merged. This divine body of mine is unprecedented and will never be seen in the future. Looking at the panel and feeling everything in his body at this time, Yang Hao was shocked and filled with endless confidence. He had a great time reading on May Day. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Grab a deposit now. Event time, April 29th, May 3rd. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 33. Behold the divine body of the sun. Please see the Holy Sun. The Holy Sun of Shaking Light, the number 1 evildoer in the Holy Land. As the vision gradually came to an end, all the powerful men in the eternal Holy Land understood that the divine body of the Holy Sun of Fluttering Light had been completed. Strong men have the reserve of strong men, but many disciples of the Holy Land of Eternal Life are not too restrained. They all flew to Yaoguang Immortal Peak with great fanaticism, wanting to see the Holy Sun of Yaoguang with their own eyes and pay homage to the legendary divine body. In a world where strength is valued, such behavior is extremely normal. The Holy Sun of Yaoguang, who used to have a low reputation in the Holy Land of Eternal Life, now has a great increase in prestige and has become the strongest Holy Sun in the eyes of many disciples. Not to mention these disciples, even the many powerful men in the eternal Holy Land are stationed at this time, waiting for the Holy Sun of Shaking Light to appear. Today, I forged a divine body to become the most powerful. At this moment, Yang Hao did not disappoint. His voice came out immediately. He naturally sensed the hustle and bustle of the outside world. Yang Hao did not deliberately hide and keep a low profile. That was a very stupid approach. Walking at night in brocade clothes, pretending to be a pig to eat tigers will only make people look down upon them infinitely. On the contrary, if you can take advantage of the situation and gain benefits for yourself, that is what a smart person does. So, he walked out at this time, with a majestic weapon, an extraordinary appearance, and a smile on his lips. An extremely confident smile. The dazzling divine body is shining, and the colorful divine light envelops him. Every move makes people feel friendly and friendly. The Holy Son of Yao Guang is indeed a dragon and a phoenix among men, with extraordinary magnanimity. If I can marry the Holy Son of Yao Guang, then I will be the happiest woman in the world. His smile is so charming. The Holy Son with such a smile has been slandered by so many people before. I heard that some people poured dirty water on Holy Son Yao Guang and said bad things about Holy Son Yao Guang. It is really shameless. It's all jealousy. The Holy Son of Yao Guang has such a good temper. He concentrates on his practice and never pays attention to the gossip outside. Today he finally proved that he is really a role model for practitioners of our generation. The disciples who can enter the Holy Land are all genius monsters. They all have their own arrogance in their hearts. But now they looked at Yang Hao, who looked elegant, confident, and calm, and were completely impressed. One word after another of praise kept popping up, all kinds of speculation and boasting. Especially the beautiful female geniuses from the Holy Land looked at Yang Hao's figure with eyes fixed on him, showing their admiration and love. Junior brothers and sisters, are you laughing? There is no limit to spiritual practice, and the divine body is just the beginning. Flucking light is not worthy of your praise. Yang Hao naturally heard all kinds of compliments. His smile was like a warm sunshine and he responded in an extremely soft tone. But he was not proud of it in his heart, nor did he take it seriously. He knew the rules of this world very well. Weakness is the original sin. When he is weak, even breathing is wrong in the eyes of others. But when he is strong, no matter how many ridiculous things he has done before, no matter whether he was infamous or not, everything will change in the eyes of others. Even if you don't say anything, someone will defend you, help you explain, and speak for you. This is a trend. From today on, his image in the eyes of everyone in the eternal Holy Land will completely change. Except for the Holy Lord, there are more people supporting him and paying attention to him. These potential trends may seem inconspicuous, but when he really needs them, they will form an overwhelming and terrifying force. This is why he stepped out at this moment and performed friendly, the reason for winning over these disciples. I'm really a born villain. Yang Hao laughed inwardly, and even he felt that everything he said and did at the moment was extremely hypocritical. However, he didn't feel disgusted at all, and instead enjoyed it. Fool these disciples, make them worship themselves crazily, and make them extremely fanatical about themselves. Yang Hao found this feeling wonderful. Neither humble nor arrogant, have your own style. We all misjudged the fluctuating light before. A hidden dragon emerging from the abyss will become another legend in my eternal Holy Land. Even some powerful people in the Holy Land of eternal life nodded secretly and praised Yang Hao in their hearts when they saw Yang Hao's performance. At this time, their impression of Yang Hao was extremely good. Just relying on Yang Hao's performance today with his talent displayed and revealed, in the eternal Holy Land, if anyone stood up and proposed to deprive Yang Hao of his position as the Holy Son, from the most powerful to the Holy Land disciples, they would probably immediately deny it and then drown him with saliva. Shake. How excellent the Holy Son of Light is. How humble. Such a peerless genius cannot be the Holy Son, who can be the Holy Son? Nonsense. But at this moment, a cold snort came. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 34. A cold snort, filled with anger, commanded the entire audience. Like a bolt from the blue, many enthusiastic disciples felt as if they had been poured down by a basin of cold water, and their hearts felt cold. Holy Lord, what happened? I heard that the Holy Lord favors the Holy Son of Yeoguang very much. Why is it that now that the Holy Son of Yeoguang has created a divine body, he is a little displeased? A series of fearful eyes looked towards the sky. I saw the eternal Holy Lord dressed in white, walking slowly from a distance. She seemed to be walking very slowly, but in fact she was extremely fast. In just a moment, she appeared not far from Yang Hao. The displeased snort just now came from the eternal Holy Lord. Everyone was confused, even Yang Hao looked at the eternal Holy Lord with some confusion, not knowing what he meant. Of course he would not believe that the eternal Holy Lord would be unfavorable to him at this time, but this behavior is really extraordinary. Fluct light has just broken through, it's time to consolidate the divine body. You are so noisy and let the fluctuating light distract you. If the Yeoguang divine body is unstable because of you, who will bear the responsibility? The Holy Lord of eternal life swept over him coldly, his eyes were like daggers, his tone was like thunder, and he was shaken down. Endless pressure swept down. Everyone was silent after hearing the words, and cold sweat continued to break out from behind. Even many major figures in the Holy Land of eternal life were silent. Yes, they are all oppressed by the eternal Holy Lord at this moment and can't breathe. The eternal Holy Lord has a humble attitude towards Yang Hao, but it does not mean that the eternal Holy Lord is the same on weekdays. In the eyes of all the disciples and powerful people of the eternal Holy Land, they are all majestic and powerful beings. They are usually unsmiling and cold as icebergs. Seeing her anger at this moment, many people were trembling and unconsciously lowered their heads. Go back. Strengthen the body. You are not allowed to leave the Yeoguang Immortal Peak until you open up the temple. Seeing that everyone was trembling and afraid to speak, the eternal Holy Lord no longer paid attention, but looked at Yang Hao and said coldly. Although the tone seemed cold, there is no difference without comparison. The eternal Holy Lord said to Yang Hao, compared with the tone just now, it can only be said to be as warm as the spring breeze. Yes. Yang Hao didn't expect that the eternal Holy Lord would appear like this. He hesitated to speak, but in the end he didn't say much. Instead, he disappeared directly and returned to Yeoguang Immortal Peak. A warm current surged through his heart. When everyone was shocked and praised for his condensation of the divine body, only the eternal Holy Lord saw another side. Yang Hao understood that how angry the eternal Holy Lord was at this moment, how much he cared about him. It's a pity that my aunt doesn't know that after the fusion of my divine body, the shrine was naturally opened up. That's all, just listen to my aunt and practice at Yeoguang Immortal Peak first. The divine palace is the first thing that needs to be done when entering the divine power realm from the true physique realm. Many monks enter the divine power realm. If the divine palace is not opened, they will choose to retreat until it is opened. It can be seen that the divine palace has a great influence on the divine power. The importance of cultivators in the realm. From the perspective of the eternal Holy Lord, it was indeed too reckless for Yang Hao to walk out of the Yeoguang Immortal Peak without opening a divine palace just after breaking through the realm. And you? Within 3 months, Yeoguangxian Peak will be designated as a forbidden area of the Holy Land of eternal life. Trespassers will die. As the eternal Holy Lord spoke again, even the powerful men of the Holy Land froze their eyes and looked serious. This sentence was not only addressed to those disciples, but also spoken to them. But no one dared to offend at this moment. The Holy Lord is majestic, and they also know that a peerless genius who is expected to become an emperor has finally appeared in the Holy Land of eternal life. If the foundation of Fluct Light is unstable due to some side issues, then the Holy Lord of eternal life will definitely go crazy. Just like that, in March in the past. In the past 3 months, no one dared to set foot on the Yeoguang Immortal Peak. The Eternal Holy Lord personally sat cross-legged and hung outside the Yaoguang Immortal Peak to protect Yang Hao. Yang Hao sent messages to the Eternal Holy Lord several times, but all of them were like nothing. He could only shake his head and smile bitterly. This aunt who loved him was so decisive that she sealed off everything inside and outside, just to let him focus on consolidating his divine body and opening up the temple. She had really good intentions. Finally, March passed by in a flash. How can the shrine be built? The Eternal Holy Lord, fluttering in white clothes, stepped into the Yaoguang Immortal Peak. I took away the villain's son. Author, the Great Onmyoji. Chapter 35. Already done. Auntie, you are too cautious. Yang Hao couldn't help but said when he saw that the Eternal Holy Lord finally arrived at Yaoguang Immortal Peak. It's never wrong to be cautious. Has the shrine been opened? Hearing this, the Eternal Holy Lord smiled and said, it has been opened long ago. Yang Hao looked strange. That day, after he selected 3 divine bodies through the system at the same time, the divine bodies merged to form a new and powerful divine body, which is the divine body he has now. The divine body of reincarnation. This is unprecedented in ancient times. The divine body combines all the characteristics of the time divine body, the true immortal divine body and the dragon divine body. The most important thing is that Yang Hao found that his reincarnation divine body can be added. Once the body of reincarnation is filled up, the fusion feature can be triggered again. If I can encounter other legendary visions, I can directly visualize them and integrate them into my reincarnation body. Yang Hao couldn't help but curl his lips as he thought of his reincarnation divine body. Although he has not seen other divine bodies yet, he is confident that his reincarnation divine body will become the strongest divine body in the world as he gradually grows. Overwhelming all divine bodies. Have all the 9 paths divine palaces been opened? Just as Yang Hao was retracting his thoughts, the Eternal Holy Lord asked again with some seriousness. I opened 81 sacred palaces. However, the next moment, Yang Hao spoke directly. Speak nicely. The Eternal Holy Lord's beautiful eyes widened when he heard the words, and then returned to normal, with a somewhat reproachful tone. In the realm of magical powers, as the third realm of the foundation, 1 magical power can be ignited in each heaven, and a total of 9 magical powers can be ignited. And if you want to awaken your magical powers, it is necessary to first use the physical body as the foundation to open a divine palace as a place to ignite magical powers. Therefore, the first thing to do when entering the realm of magical powers is to open a 9 paths divine palace to ignite magical powers. The importance of the divine palace is not only, it goes without saying, that when you first step into the magical realm, it is also the most suitable time to open a divine palace. Because of this, the Eternal Holy Lord sealed off the shaking light immortal peak and urged Yang Hao to open a divine palace. I really opened up 81 divine palaces. Yang Hao heard this and knew that the Eternal Holy Lord did not believe it, so he said seriously again. He was shocked at first. Throughout the ages, the magical power realm can only open up the 9-way divine palace and ignite the 9-way magical power. Even the great emperor is no exception. But that day, after he broke through the true body realm and condensed the divine body of the reincarnation Dao, he was shocked to find that there were 81 divine palaces hanging in his body. He didn't even need to open it himself, these divine palaces had already appeared on their own. After being shocked, Yang Hao could only attribute all this to the specialness of the Samsara Taoist divine body. After all, throughout the ages, there has never been such a terrifying divine body as the Samsara Taoist divine body. Let me see. The Eternal Holy Lord saw that Yang Hao's serious expression did not seem to be fake, so she subconsciously chose to believe Yang Hao. But she still held Yang Hao's hand and felt it carefully. Your true immortal body, isn't it? There are actually 81 divine palaces here. The Eternal Holy Lord had just inspected Yang Hao's divine body and was completely shocked. Although she had never sensed a divine body, when she inspected Yang Hao's divine body, she could still sense the extraordinary nature of the divine body of the reincarnation. With her vision and strength, she instantly judged that Yang Hao's divine body was even more powerful than the legendary true immortal divine body. But soon, she was attracted by the 81 divine palaces in Yang Hao's body. There was no point in what Yang Hao said false. In his body, there are 81 palace-like divine lights that turn into star clusters and shine, extremely dazzling. Don't tell anyone about this. You only have the 9 paths divine palace, so remember it. After the Eternal Holy Lord made some inquiries, the beautiful face looked at Yang Hao very cautiously and did not ask any more questions. The 81 divine palace means that Yang Hao can ignite the 81 magical powers. It is much better than ordinary people. 9 times higher. This is really appalling. I see. When Yang Hao heard the words, he naturally responded immediately. He was not stupid. He told the Eternal Holy Lord that it was because the Eternal Holy Lord was someone he was truly close to. After knowing about it, he would not only not expose it, but would also provide him with great help. If other people knew that he owned 81 divine palaces, not to mention the existence of the Holy Lord level, even the great emperor who had disappeared from the starry sky might return and use him as a guinea pig to study. This is definitely not what Yang Hao wants to see. Seeing Yang Hao's serious look, the Eternal Holy Lord knew that Yang Hao had understood what he meant, and couldn't help but feel relieved. Hao is really getting better and better. She smiled and couldn't help but sigh. It's all because of my aunt's good teachings. Yang Hao chuckled after hearing this. Glib tongue. Hearing this, the Eternal Holy Lord rolled his eyes in a rare and charming way, but then waved his jade hand slightly, and several dazzling little light groups appeared in his hand. Now that Hao's shrine has been opened, these things can come in handy. Speaking of which, the origins of these things are somewhat interesting. When Yang Hao heard this, he looked over curiously. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 36. Xiao Chong. Yang Hao was speechless as he listened to the Eternal Holy Lord's narration. He did not expect that such an incident would happen when he was refining the holy dragon scales in seclusion. Just now, the Eternal Holy Lord smiled and told Yang Hao previously, the great elder wanted to let the rising genius Xiao Chong replace him as the Holy Son. However, as Yang Hao condensed his divine body, the great elder no longer dared to mention this matter, and even personally sent a few extremely precious words. As an apology. The few small light clusters lingering in the hands of the Eternal Holy Lord are the great elder's apology. Hao still strives for success. The Eternal Holy Lord smiled and said to Yang Hao. Kindness. Xiao Chong, how are you now? Yang Hao said seriously when he heard this. Although he didn't take Xiao Chong seriously, sometimes it's hard to guard against villains. He didn't have much temperament, and he didn't know Xiao Chong. But thinking about it from Xiao Chong's perspective, Chong was supposed to rise against the odds and gain countless glory, but now he was suppressed on the spot. How could there be no resentment in his heart? What's more, Xiao Chong's talent is not bad either. The evil genius who can condense the immortal body of 10,000 magics can be found anywhere. The holy land of the family is also second to none. Xiao Chong also has the background of a great elder. If he has resentment in his heart, he doesn't know when it will cause trouble to him secretly. Although he is not afraid, he also hates trouble. Hao has really grown up and become more and more mature. Yang Hao's words made the Holy Land of Eternal Life secretly nod. She was able to become the Holy Land Holy Lord, but she had seen so much darkness and blood along the way. Yang Hao's worries seemed that flaws would be repaid and she had a bad mind, but the Holy Lord of Eternal Life was Yang Hao. Feel happy. In this era, it is often difficult for kind people to survive. The Great Elder has personally sent him out of Ziwei Star. If you don't become a sage, you won't be able to return. The Eternal Holy Lord said to Yang Hao. Did you give away Ziwei Big Star? Yang Hao nodded secretly. He felt a little pity in his heart, but after all, he didn't know it before. Now that Xiao Chong has been sent out of Ziwei Star, he can no longer pursue it. He also understands the meaning of the words of the Eternal Saint Lord. Even if Xiao Chong becomes, I don't know how many years it will take for a sage to become a sage. What's more, the starry sky outside the Ziwei Star is not as rich in aura as the Ziwei Star. Whether Xiao Chong can become a sage is still two questions. Even if Xiao Chong becomes a sage, there will be no way for him to become a sage. With Yang Hao's cultivation speed, he might have become an emperor long ago, and the other party no longer poses any threat to him. Also, he asked me to tell you that he is more optimistic about you and will never embarrass you because of this matter. On the contrary, if you need anything, you can go to him at any time. The words of the Eternal Holy Lord came again. This great elder is really decisive. Yang Hao secretly sighed. After all, he is not a brainless person who can become the great elder of the Holy Land of eternal life. He can send away such a demonic descendant so decisively, and at the same time send a precious apology, and tell the Holy Lord so straightforwardly, look. It seems like giving in, but actually he has great wisdom. Don't worry, you are the Son of God. Since the great elder has chosen to banish Xiao Chong, he has decided to invest in you. From now on, the great elder will also owe you for this matter. If you have the opportunity, you can ask for some benefits from him. Although this old guy has a gloomy personality, he has a lot of good things in his hands. Let's take a look at these divine souls first. The words of the Eternal Holy Lord made Yang Hao completely relieved. His aunt would not deceive him. Since she said so, the great elder would no longer be malicious to him. He looked at the few coins in the hands of the Eternal Holy Lord. The flashing light group of Taoist light. Is this the soul? When the Eternal Holy Lord took out these divine souls, the divine palace in his body was always ready to move, like a foodie who smelled the aroma of meat. If the divine palace is the firewood that ignites magical powers, then the divine soul is the fire that ignites magical powers. The quality of the soul determines the level of magical power it can ignite. Yang Hao looked at the soul in the hands of the Eternal Holy Lord and knew that with the great elder's handiwork, the soul must be of the highest quality. Amber soul, immortal level soul, has the potential to ignite supreme supernatural powers. The Suanwu soul, the immortal soul, has the potential to ignite the supreme supernatural power. The heavenly sword soul, a god-level soul, has the potential to ignite supreme supernatural powers. Every time the Eternal Holy Lord speaks, a flashing light ball floats in the void and blooms under her control. I took away the villain's son. Author, the Great Onmyoji. Chapter 37. Divine souls are also divided into 3, 6, or 9 levels. Ordinary souls, low-level souls, intermediate souls, and high-level souls are the final choices for most practitioners with ordinary qualifications. Above the high-level souls, there are super souls and king-level souls. Those who can use souls of this quality to ignite magical powers are often evil geniuses with powerful talents and profound backgrounds. Immortal level and god level souls are hard to come by. Even with such a noble and prominent status as the Holy Son, he may not be able to obtain such a divine soul. The fundamental reason is that the essence of the divine soul is the spirit of all things. Not only is it extremely rare, but it can only be stored for 1 year. A year later, even the god-level souls will vanish into ashes and disappear in this world. Because of this, even holy places with profound foundations do not have souls stored there. Yang Hao looked at the 3 souls in the hands of the Eternal Holy Lord, recalling the information about the souls in his memory, his eyes shining. 2 immortal souls. 1 god-level soul. This great elder's handiwork is really amazing. This god-level soul seems to have been prepared by the great elder for Xiao Chong. Now, you can only give it to me cheaply. Yang Hao chuckled, feeling satisfied. Although the 3 souls that the great elder gave you are of extremely high quality, however, don't take it lightly. After all, the soul is the spirit of all things and has its own spirituality. You must make sure your palace is extremely strong before suppressing it. If you cannot suppress it perfectly, not only will the level of the ignited magical power be reduced, but its future potential will also be greatly reduced. Seeing Yang Hao's smile, the Eternal Holy Lord reminded him. Hao naturally understands what the ant said. But I am confident that I can perfectly suppress these spirits, Yang Hao said immediately. Even if the Eternal Holy Lord knows that he has 81 divine palaces, he knows his divine body. Yang Hao is very clear about how tough his divine palace is. Whether it is an immortal level soul or a god level soul, he has the confidence to suppress. Don't be too confident. In these days, you will take these 3 souls into the shrine one by one and nurture them. When the time is right, you can ignite them again. As the Holy Land of Eternal Life said, it sent 3 souls to Yang Hao. Yang Hao naturally took it and led these 3 precious souls into the palace inside his body. Comfortable. When these 3 souls entered the shrine in the body, Yang Hao felt that these 3 souls had settled in the shrine, as if they had turned into little suns, providing him with a steady stream of warmth. This warmth gradually, the longer it lasts, it will continue to nourish his body and make his shrine stronger. However, because these souls have not been suppressed, Yang Hao can feel that from time to time, there are sounds coming from these souls. Restlessness and madness. Come to think of it, if the great elder had not specially sealed these souls when he sent them out, I am afraid that the 3 souls now in Yang Hao's body would have brought Yang Hao not warmth, but riots. The magical power realm, as the 3rd foundational realm, is to ignite the 9 magical powers. Supernatural power is extremely special. It is the manifestation of the potential in your body. This kind of power does not consume spiritual energy or Dao pattern power, and it is all kinds of strange and diverse. It is one of the methods used by many practitioners to keep the bottom of the box. As the supernatural power is fully unfolded, the ultimate goal is to open up the divine sea in your body. At that time, the divine sea, the physical body, and the Dao patterns will form a perfect cycle, and the foundation will be cast, and the land will be enshrined. However, you have now created a supreme foundation, even a supreme foundation. There is no suspense anymore. All you need is meticulousness, concentration, and care. Next, the Eternal Holy Lord taught Yang Hao all the key points of the magical realm in detail. Yang Hao did not have any arrogance, but listened carefully. He knew very well that the personal guidance of a Holy Lord level expert must be full of true knowledge and insights, and a casual sentence would be worth decades of hard work for many people. One is willing to learn and the other is willing to teach. Yang Hao's understanding of the supernatural realm has naturally improved by leaps and bounds, and he has gained a lot. I'll stop here for now, my aunt has some things to deal with. I have already given instructions. In the next few days, a large amount of rare elixirs for nourishing and stabilizing the palace will be delivered. Don't be careless. Unknowingly, 3 days and 3 nights passed. After the Eternal Holy Lord finished giving instructions to Yang Hao, he seemed to have something important to deal with, and then left directly. After Yang Hao saw the Eternal Holy Lord leaving, he immediately began to practice. The mind sneaked into the shrine, observing the souls in the 3 shrines, ready to move. Let's take a look at the refining first. His heart moved, his power surged, and the palace containing the amber soul shook violently. The next moment, the heaven and earth inside his body swayed. In Yang Hao's mind, a phantom that reached the sky and the earth appeared. He activated got the amber soul. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 38. The phantom that stretched across the sky and the earth gradually solidified. It was an extremely huge whale that shone in amber color and stretched across the entire sky. Inside Yang Hao's body, the earth was shaking. This is the amber sky whale. An extremely terrifying ancient beast. One bite can easily swallow a king-level being. Yang Hao took a deep breath and looked at this amber sky whale. Of course this amber sky whale is not real, but a shadow. Even so, Yang Hao can still sense the terrifying aura of this amber sky whale when he was alive. No wonder it is extremely difficult for even a monster with a great background to obtain an immortal soul. Such an ancient ferocious beast must require great power to hunt it down. And whether the soul can be born depends entirely on appearance. The great elder didn't know how many ancient ferocious beasts of this level he had slaughtered before he could harvest an amber soul. As Yang Hao's thoughts flickered, the phantom of the amber sky whale in front of him was already attacking him. A terrifying shock seemed to tear apart the space. Tear him apart completely. Snort. Yang Hao snorted softly, and the divine palace in his body suddenly transformed into 10,000 feet, and went directly towards the phantom of the amber sky whale to suppress it. The soul has spirit and will definitely inherit the spirituality during life. This amber soul was extremely ferocious during its lifetime, and it will definitely not be absorbed by me easily. Only after suppressing it can he turn it into his own use, completely absorb it, and use it to ignite his magical power. Yang Hao has been prepared for a long time. This amber sky whale is ferocious, but it is no longer as powerful as before. The shadow of this amber sky whale is more of a test of the soul and the stability of the shrine. When he mobilized the shrine the moment he suppressed the amber sky whale, what Yang Hao never expected was that the other 80 divine palaces in his body would also bloom with divine flowers and suppress the amber sky whale's shadow. Roar. In the body, an earth-shattering roar echoed. Yang Hao's palace was as stable as a mountain, suppressing an immortal soul on the spot. Is this over? Feeling that the amber sky whale activated by him at this moment was suppressed so easily, Yang Hao blinked. The Eternal Holy Lord had specifically told him before that suppressing the immortal souls and God-level souls would be very difficult, which made him deliberately cheering up. I never thought that I would be able to suppress this immortal soul so easily. My aunt probably wouldn't have thought that it would be so easy to suppress the soul in front of the 81 divine palaces. Yang Hao naturally wouldn't think that the Eternal Holy Lord would deceive him, so he could only conclude like this. Now that the suppression has been successful, the soul can be ignited to give birth to supernatural powers. Feeling that the amber soul in the palace has completely calmed down after being suppressed by him, compared with the other two souls that have not yet been suppressed, it is like a tamed baby, allowing him to take whatever he wants. Yang Hao knew that what he had to do next was very simple. He only needed to ignite the soul to give birth to supernatural powers. Ignite. At that moment, Yang Hao ignited the amber soul without hesitation. The next moment, a mysterious force began to be born from the palace that suppressed the amber soul. The shadow of the amber sky whale appeared again. He jumped out. The ferocity was still there. The aura was violent. However, it did not collide with Yang Hao, but burned to the extreme. Seeing this scene, Yang Hao finally understood why it was called igniting the magical power. After the soul burned, it turned into a whale shape. The flame, that is magical power. Swallow the sky. 8th grade magical power. As the power of Dao patterns continues to be cultivated, it can eventually grow into a supreme magical power. Yang Hao's mind was shaken, and a thought surged out of his heart, and he understood and digested it in the blink of an eye. This magical power called swallowing heaven is an 8th level magical power. Once used, it can swallow all things and transform them into monsters. For your own use, the power is terrifying. Supernatural powers are divided into grades 1 to 9, and those above the 9th grade are supreme and unparalleled. Most practitioners who ignite their magical powers are below the 3rd level. Even if they are evil geniuses who have just ignited their magical powers, most of them can only reach the 6th level. This heaven-swallowing magical power has just been ignited. It is an 8th grade magical power. On the one hand, it is because the divine soul that ignited the magical power is extremely powerful. On the other hand, it is because I perfectly suppressed the divine soul and released the complete power of the divine soul. I believe it won't take long to grow into the 9th grade. And this is just the first of my 81 magical powers. After Yang Hao understood it carefully, he looked at the system. Sure enough. After seeing the panel on the system, Yang Hao grinned. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 39. Earn 30,000 points for suppressing the soul. Earn 50,000 points for ignite mystical power. The system points are still being gained crazily and endlessly. And compared to when I first got the system, I have obviously earned more points. As expected by Yang Hao, right after he ignited the heaven-swallowing magical power, the entry for the heaven-swallowing magical power appeared clearly on his panel. 1 million points. Yang Hao looked at the upper limit of points behind the swallowing magical power. Immediately his heart moved. He had deliberately reserved points after his cultivation broke through to the magical realm. 3 months ago, he had more than 1 million points. After a few months, a huge number of points have been accumulated. Add a bit. He directly added points without hesitation. Suddenly, the points of the heaven-devouring magic power poured in instantly on the panel, directly filling the upper limit of the points of the heaven-devouring magic power. Boom! The moment the points of the sky-swallowing divine power were filled up, the whale-shaped divine fire in the temple suddenly burned brightly and became even more brilliant. 9th grade magical power. Great devouring heaven technique. Yang Hao's eyes flashed with brilliance. After adding more points, the sky-swallowing magical power jumped from the 8th level to the 9th level, and its power was also greatly enhanced. It is also about swallowing all things, and the feedback I can get is at least 3 times that of the previous magical power of swallowing the sky. Keep adding more. Yang Hao became interested. He filled up the points on his panel and transformed into the 9th grade magical power. The great sky swallowing technique appeared on his panel again. The points returned to 0 again, and the upper limit became 10 million points. The points of the 9th grade magical power, the upper limit has increased tenfold. But fortunately, Yang Hao still has points. With his thoughts, the upper limit of 10 million points for the heaven swallowing technique was also filled up by him in an instant. Boom! In the temple, the whale-shaped flames representing the 9th level magical power of swallowing the sky burned again, with the potential to burn the sky. The supreme magical power swallows up the world. Feeling the whale-like flames burning crazily, Yang Hao knew that the 9th grade magical power had once again risen, sublimating into the supreme magical power to devour the world. The overbearing magical power that devours everything. Everything that is swallowed by my magical power can bring me feedback 10 times more than the sky-swallowing magical power. With this supreme magical power, the speed of cultivation will be greatly accelerated, and you can have an endless supply during battle. It is truly a supreme supernatural power. Yang Hao was shocked in his heart. He realized that this supreme magical power had a great effect in swallowing up the world. Unfortunately, the magical power ignited by the immortal level soul can only reach the supreme level magical power at most. Yang Hao glanced at the panel with some regret, but was stunned. At this moment, there was still a sign representing extra points on the back that represented the magical power of swallowing up the world, but the upper limit was already as high as 1 billion points. What does it mean? Could it be that by adding points, we can continue to upgrade the devouring heaven and earth, which is already the supreme magical power? Yang Hao was a little surprised. You must know that the upper limit of the immortal level soul is the supreme level, and only the God level soul has the potential of supreme magical powers. It is really shocking that the system can directly break through this limit. Unfortunately, 100 million points is still an astronomical figure to me now. Yang Hao wanted to try, but after spending 11 million points, his balance of points was only over 10 million. There is no doubt that these points are not enough to use the supreme magical power. Full. Let's suppress the other two souls first. Yang Hao was not impatient. He was satisfied with the supreme magical power. The points were increasing every moment, and it was only a matter of time before the points were filled. He entered the cultivation state again and began to suppress the remaining God-level souls and immortal-level souls. Half a month later, the three souls have been completely suppressed by me. At the same time, I also ignited three magical powers and upgraded them to the supreme level through points. Yang Hao looked at his panel with some satisfaction. In addition to the supreme magical power of devouring heaven and earth, he also ignited the two supreme magical powers of Suan Wu Aegis and Bawang Sword Intent. Of these two supreme powers, Suan Wu Aegis is a defensive magical power. The power is extremely terrifying. The Bawang Sword Intent is an ultimate offensive magical power, extremely terrifying. If you want to upgrade the magical power ignited by the God-level soul to the supreme magical power, you only need 100 million points. Immortal level souls are a bit different and require a full 10-fold upgrade. At the same time, Yang Hao also clearly understood the difference between the immortal level soul and the God level soul after igniting magical powers. For him, he can spend points to upgrade to the supreme magical power. However, the gap in the points required is still huge. In addition, in the magical realm, other people only need to ignite a magical power to jump to the next level. The 9 magical powers are the 9 heavens. But I am different. There are 81 divine palaces, and I am afraid that every time I ignite 9 magical powers, I can advance to the next level. Yang Hao suddenly realized. Previously, he found that the magical power realm on the system panel was not marked with adding points, and thought that he could not add points. Only now did he realize that it was not that he could not add points, but that the magical power realm was extremely special, and he needed to continuously ignite the magical power before he could enter. Realm. It is very simple to break through the realm. As long as he is willing, he can ignite 81 magical powers in one day and reach the 9th level of the magical realm. However, it is meaningless. If you can't build the most perfect foundation, how can you compete with other protagonists in the future? Everyone with a protagonist is an existence with adverse luck. As long as I relax, it might become my fatal flaw in the future. Yang Hao knows very well that his destiny as a villain will not end after encountering a protagonist. Only by constantly raising his own requirements can he sweep all the protagonists. Pity. The Holy Land of Eternal Life is such a huge holy land, but there is not even a single immortal level soul. After he ignited the 3 magical powers, he naturally wanted to find other immortal level souls from the Holy Land of Eternal Life for practice. Unfortunately, he was shocked to find that the souls contained in the Holy Land of Eternal Life were not immortal level. Don't say immortal level. Even king level souls are extremely rare. With his current status in the Eternal Holy Land, he can naturally access these king level souls. It's just that Yang Hao can accept fairy level souls, but he doesn't like king level souls. It makes sense. The existence period of the soul is only 1 year, which is too short. Even the Holy Land has nothing to do. However, my aunt didn't know where she went, so she had to think of a solution on her own. These days, the Eternal Holy Lord rarely leaves the Eternal Holy Land and does not know where he is going. On the one hand, Yang Hao issued a mission in the Eternal Holy Land and sent a large number of Holy Land disciples to help him find out about the immortal souls. On the other hand, he himself also, instead of just sitting around practicing, he had other plans. Just when Yang Hao was about to leave, Yaoguang Immortal Peak received an unexpected visitor. I took away the villain's son. Author, the Great Onmyoji. Chapter 40. Saint Tianqian. Yang Hao squinted his eyes at the Yaoguang Immortal Peak and looked at the fairy-like Tianqian saint in a gauze white dress in front of him. He was a little surprised. This saint once went to Wanlong Dojo with him and had a close relationship with him. However, the two of them had no friendship at all. He was a little surprised by his sudden arrival today. Have you seen the Holy Sun of fluctuating light? The Holy Sun has been cultivating quietly for several months, and his strength has improved again. The temperament of Saint Tianqian is very quiet, like a green lotus standing still. When she speaks now, her voice is clear and sweet, like the breeze blowing on her face, making people instinctively feel good about her. If the saint has something to do, just tell her. When Yang Hao heard this, he also smiled and spoke casually. Although the Tianqian saint in front of him seemed friendly and made people feel good about her, he didn't care about Tianqian saint. Being with the Eternal Holy Lord all the year round gave him a liking for beautiful women. Amazing immunity. He visits the Three Treasures Palace for nothing, and Yang Hao just wants to know the reason why the saint is here. The Holy Sun is really direct. Today, I came here to bring a piece of news for the Holy Sun. Seeing that he was puzzled by his amorous feelings, Saint Tianqian couldn't help but smile helplessly. Oh? Yang Hao said with some curiosity. Does the saint know the whereabouts of the immortal soul? He couldn't think of any news that Saint Tianqian could tell him. He could only blame it on this person who knew the news that he sent his disciples to search for immortal souls. Holy Sun, I am also in the realm of supernatural powers. Hearing Yang Hao's words, Saint Tianxuan's tone paused, her lips curled up, and she said resentfully. Yang Hao laughed when he heard this. 2. This saint is also in the realm of supernatural powers and can become a saint's son and saint. She is not a monster. There is really news about the immortal soul. I have already found a way to get it. How could I tell myself? This news is somewhat interesting. The Holy Sun should know Xiaoqing right? Sage Tianqian has already seen that Yang Hao is completely confused about the style, so she simply said directly. Xiaoqing Yang Hao was stunned when he heard this, and immediately his face became strange. Of course he knew Xiaoqing This person was not the one who had his engagement broken off by the original Holy Sun Yaoguang, and then pointed at the nose of Holy Sun Yaoguang and said that he had been in Hedong for 3 decades. He has been his fiancée for 10 years in Hexi. In his memory, Xiaoqing had been a close match with the family of Yaoguang Shenzi when he was a child. The two families had been married since they were young, and they had this marriage. Only however, the Holy Son of Yaoguang was later taken to the Holy Land of Eternal Life by the Eternal Holy Lord, and he rose all the way to become the Holy Son. However, Xiaoqing's family gradually declined after the strongest prince-level warrior in the clan was killed by the enemy. Let Yang Hao say that the Saint Yaoguang who was taken away from him also had a bad mind. Xiaoqing was also a stunning beauty, and her appearance was much higher than that of the Saint Tianqian in front of him. As a result, Saint Yaoguang the son actually disliked Xiaoqing's poor talent and the family's decline. When Xiaoqing came to ask for help from the Holy Son of Light, he not only broke off the engagement without mercy, but also humiliated Xiaoqing with words. He directly forced her to Xiaoqing finally said that golden sentence that only the protagonist can say. When he first digested this memory, Yang Hao was stunned by the god-level operation of the Holy Son of Light. This is not because of a bad brain, what is it? Yang Hao, who is familiar with countless routines, has long made Xiaoqing one of the protagonists. However, Yang Hao has not heard from Xiaoqing for a long time. At this time, he heard the mention of Saint Tianqian and couldn't help but give birth to, interested. Xiaoqing is now the saint of that holy land, he asked casually and matter-of-factly. When Saint Tianqian heard this, Her beautiful eyes widened and she said with some surprise, did the Holy Sun also hear about it? However, Xiao Qing'er did not choose to enter the Taiyan Holy Land in the end, but was accepted as a direct disciple by a living fossil. Yang Hao. Please tell me carefully. Yang Hao was helpless. He just talked casually. He didn't expect to make a close guess. He once again confirmed that the Xiao Qing'er whose engagement was broken off by him must be another existence with the fate of the protagonist. Referring to maybe, she also has a ring, and there is an old grandpa or grandma in the ring.